This evening, Fort Bliss will be impacted as the U.S. government scales down the Army. The current force of 490,000 troops will be cut to 450,000 in just 2 years. If government spending cuts continue as scheduled, that number could drop even further to 420,000 in 4 years. The government says this will not affect the nation's war-fighting capabilities. The Army is also cutting the civilian workforce by approximately 17,000 people.
Tonight, Fort Bliss is home to about 35,000 of those U.S. soldiers. The Post confirms that cutbacks mean 1,200 positions at Fort Bliss will be done away with. The major changes will be seen with 225 positions cut from the 1st Armored Division headquarters, another 450 from 2 Armored Brigade combat teams, and 70 from other brigade headquarters. El Paso is still benefiting from the massive expansion of Fort Bliss.
So this cutback won't hit the city as hard as it would have, let's say, a decade ago. ABC 7's Darren Hunt has our complete coverage.
Bringing us on, 2005, the government closed some military bases and made others bigger, like Fort Bliss. It went from 9,000 troops to about 35,000. That's why the borderland will feel a pinch, not a punch.
We feel very fortunate that while there is a pound of flesh, as it were, to be given, that we're being less impacted than so many other installations.
The president of the Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce says El Paso and Fort Bliss dodged a bullet with troop reductions.
Well, it's easy to throw around numbers, whether it's 1,219 or whatever your number is. Those are people and families. Just as importantly, those who are left to continue to serve will now have more on their plates.
Bliss officials said the 1st Armored Division headquarters will see a reduction of 225 soldiers, while 2 Armored Division combat teams will be reduced 450 soldiers each.
That'll put more stress on the force as a whole, but it is what it is. It's the orders coming down, so we'll make do.
According to a UTEP study, Fort Bliss has an annual economic impact of $6 billion on the El Paso community. Now, these troop reductions will be felt the most at businesses in and around Fort Bliss, like this GI supply store.
With a reduction like that, it definitely affects our business, makes it a bit slower for us.
Clayton Lester's family owns GI Supply on Fred Wilson.
We'll do our best to survive. God bless us every day, and so we just one foot in front of the other and keep on going.
We haven't heard about the civilian cuts, and that's a major concern.
17,000 civilian jobs will also be cut, including some at Fort Bliss.
A lot of the civilian employees are El Pasoans and lifelong El Pasoans. We're holding our breath to see what those numbers are going to be.
Now, Bliss lost 3,500 soldiers 2 years ago because of cutbacks, but it also gained an Air Force security force. Chamber officials are hopeful that'll happen again. Rick?
Thank you very much, Darren.
And if you happen